My father was not a sheep farmer. He was a sales executive, so he would travel the nation selling thermoplastic polymers. But he believed that boys needed to work hard, so he bought a sheep farm. Yeah. This is me. So as an 8-year-old, I remember getting out of bed before the sun would rise into the frigid Ohio winter and going out to do chores before school. As an 11-year-old, I remember my father had just left on a business trip when the ram unexpectedly died in the middle of the field, this giant beast of an animal. So my brother and I, it was up to us. So we go out there and we dig a hole right next to it and we push it over. But at that point, rigor mortis had already set in. So when it falls in, its hooves are sticking straight up out of the hole. And we're like, that's okay. We just pile extra dirt on top of it. Right? And then it rains, and you can see these hooves sticking up out of the field. Yeah. I remember staying up through the night during lambing season, bottle feeding the lambs that, for whatever reason, couldn't get enough from their mothers, trimming hooves, being chased around the field by an angry ram, and shoveling manure. Lots and lots of manure. You actually get to know the sheep personally. You know the personality of each sheep, and you can literally call them by name. You can literally hand feed them. They know you, you know them. Here's my brother. You can just walk them around. You have a relationship with them. You know the sheep, and the sheep know you. Now, this is the world that I grew up in, and it just happens to be the world of the Bible. Now, of course, there's more to the scriptures than sheep and fields and manure. There's also vast cities, Nineveh, Jerusalem, Rome, vast deserts, Egypt, Sinai, the Negev. But by and large, the world of Moses, Abraham, Amos, Jesus is a world of sheep and shepherds. So it's not accidental or incidental that the very first people who show up to greet the newborn king happen to be shepherds who are watching their flock by night. So the bleating of sheep didn't just fill their ears, it filled their imaginations. The taste of lamb chops wasn't just the taste of family dinner, it was the taste of salvation. It was the Passover lamb. It was the lamb that died so that you might live. The work of the shepherd was not only common, it appears to have been some kind of prerequisite for leadership in God's kingdom. Abraham, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, David, they all had to learn how to care for sheep before God would let them lead his people. So in the scriptures, this sheep-shepherd metaphor becomes what scholars refer to as a root metaphor. It's one of the major root metaphors, right along with family and kingdom. It's a root metaphor that out of which grows all these branches that bear much fruit. It shapes how we think and talk and feel about God. The Lord is my shepherd. About ourselves, we all, like sheep, have gone astray. About what it means to follow Jesus. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. About church, my title is pastor, literally shepherd. And about salvation, behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. That's who Jesus is. So, personally, growing up with lanolin on my jeans, lanolin, that oily, smelly stuff on the sheep's wool, lanolin on my jeans, manure in my boots. I had no idea that was actually preparing me to have a deeper understanding and appreciation of the scriptures. But it's true. If you want to understand the world of the Bible, you kind of have to understand sheep and shepherds. And the text that lies at the heart of this is Psalm 23. It's great, one of the best-known psalms, arguably one of the best-known passages in all of Scripture. Not only known, but loved. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So for the next 3 weeks, we are going to camp out in a pasture just outside of Bethlehem, where David grew up. And we're going to learn the way of the shepherd with the sheep so that we might more deeply appreciate the way of God with us. Now, Psalm 23 is so simple that children can recite it and understand it and appreciate it, as we've already seen. It doesn't so much need to be explained as experienced, not so much like dissected and studied as it needs to be chewed upon and digested. This is the Hebrew way of thinking about it. So after grazing, sheep will stand or sit for hours upon hours chewing and digesting, chewing their cud is what it's called. And that is exactly what Psalm 23 demands of us. So for the next 3 weeks, we are just going to chew upon, digest these 3 great confessions of the psalm. I shall not want. I will fear no evil. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The hope is that, Lord willing, these prayers will become our prayers. This shepherd will become our shepherd. Now, I have to say up front, my hope for this sermon and for this series is not so much that you learn new things, is that you experience them, is that you take them into yourself, that they become part of you. And that is something I can't do for you. It's going to be between you and God. And frankly, He's got to do it for you. And you have to posture yourself in a way of openness. And so with that, I hope this isn't boring. I hope it's insightful. But at the end of the day, I don't really care about those things. I hope that God does something in you. It becomes part of you. So with that, I want to humbly open Psalm 23. And let's just begin here with the editor's note that's going to set the stage for us. Psalm 23. Underneath the title, the editors add this little note. It's not part of the original script, but they add it to help explain it. And this one says, a psalm of David. And this is particularly important in this psalm, but because since ancient times, this psalm has been attributed to David, like the giant slayer, the king, the shepherd boy. So you can immediately see why once you get into this text a little bit. David, he grew up with sheep, loved sheep, he knew sheep. So as a shepherd boy, he literally risked his life to protect sheep. And then as a king, you might know this story, when he once heard that someone stole another man's pet lamb, slaughtered it, and ate it for himself, he lost his mind. Like that was the worst thing a human could do. Which is to say, David grew up with lanolin on his jeans and manure in his boots. Like this comes right out of his experience. He's lived this, and that's what he's going to invite us into. So the opening line begins like this. The Lord is my shepherd. And immediately we notice, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. There's a flow to this. There's a meter to this. That this is metaphor. This is song. This is poetry. This is the language of intimacy and experience. Like this is where we go when like rational explanations fail. When our normal words just can't contain what's happening here. We have to go towards word pictures, metaphor, songs. And this is where David must go to even begin to put into the words who the Lord is to him. And you'll notice it begins with a name, the Lord in all caps. That is not just a title like King or God or Your Majesty. The Lord in all caps, when you see this in the Scriptures, this signifies the personal name of God, Yahweh. So this is the name that God revealed to the shepherd, Moses, at the burning bush. He comes, he says, take off your shoes, you're on holy ground. And then out of this bush that's burning but not being consumed, he hears, who are you? And he says, I am that I am. That to speak this name, to say the Lord, is to be faced with your own limitations. It's to be all too aware that you are small and dependent and, in the words of Ecclesiastes, but a breath. To stand before the one who is Yahweh, I am that I am, is to stand before the one who is indescribable and uncontainable, who speaks things into being, who never grows tired or faint, who never runs out of time, who is not within our constraints of time and space. He can only be said to be, I am. And yet, It's also important to note that this name is not only awesome and fearful, it is also personal, intimate, and relationship. That this name is the name that he has revealed to us. To know this name is to be invited into relationship. To know this name is to be on a first name basis with the God of the universe. And this, therein lies the mystery. He's the Lord. He's the creator of heaven and earth. He's the one who you can only say of him, I am. The Jews were actually afraid in the Old Testament after the time of Ezra. They didn't even speak this name anymore because they were so terrified of misusing it, of taking it in vain. It was the name that we must swallow, which we must not speak. The Lord, high and exalted, is not just the Lord. The Lord is my shepherd. He's not just a shepherd. He's not just the shepherd of God's people. He's mine. The Lord is my shepherd. That the all-powerful God of the universe cares for me. And on the lips of David, who was literally willing to risk his life for his sheep, this is not some abstract theological affirmation. This is the type of thing that he knows from experience, that he feels in his body. He knows this the way you know the feeling of the morning sun hitting your face. He knows this the way you know the ache of embracing an old friend that you haven't seen in months and years. It's personal, it's bodily, it's experiential. It's more than the words themselves can contain. And shepherd for David is not just a job title. It's a lived reality that conveys care, presence, protection, watchfulness, gentleness, strength. That is who the Lord is to him. But of course, if we're to understand this metaphor, we must understand that if the Lord is my shepherd, that makes me a sheep. Oh no. Yeah. So let me say up front, the scriptures never disparage sheep. Never. Sheep are good, they are loved, they are a profound blessing. But having grown up with them, I can tell you that they are also profoundly dependent and profoundly dumb. Yeah, they are. So in his little book, A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23, Philip Keller gives us this helpful image. He describes how sheep can sometimes get cast down, his language. So this is when a sheep lies down in just the wrong spot in the field next to a depression and then rolls over, loses its balance, and rolls onto its back, and its feet kick and get stuck in the air, and it can't do anything. It's just stuck there. It looks absolutely ridiculous. This is a real thing. Real thing. So Keller then, though, explains that it's not just ridiculous. He explains the severity of it. Listen to this. He says, as it lies there struggling, gases begin to build up in the rumen. That's its digestive system. As these expand, they tend to cut off the blood in the extremities of the body, especially the legs. If the weather is very hot and sunny, a cast sheep can die in a few hours. Do you hear that? Do you hear how helpless they are? So this is ridiculous. It's pathetic, but it's also potentially deadly. You really have to see this to believe it. I want this image. Carry this image with you as you think of sheep and shepherd. I'm going to show a short video that's just too good not to share. Watch this.
Well, greetings. Here we are out in the field, and we got a sheep who's gone over on her back. Now, she's not able to get up. She's got herself into a situation where she's rode over on her back, and because her back's quite flat, it's not allowing her to be able to roll over. Now, if you see a sheep like this, help the sheep. Pull the sheep up, because the sheep will eventually die. The gases will build up, and they will eventually have a heart attack. So, you have to approach the sheep carefully. It's not going to hurt you. And if you grab hold of its hoof, one of its legs, give it a pull, and pull it over, like I've done. Oh! Now it's back over. You can see how flat its back is, and that's the problem with sheep. Especially ones like this, probably a little bit too much weight on. Now, it's going to get back up. It's going to be a bit wobbly. It's been down for a little while, so it's going to work its way back up. It's going to just settle itself, and there we have it. So this sheep has been saved. Its life has been saved. It has been left there for a few more hours.
That image right there, that ridiculous image of a sheep, that's us. More than we'd like to confess. We are sheep. We're prone to wander. Lord, I feel it, prone to wander. Prone to get lost, prone to get cast down. And unless the shepherd comes after us, looks for us, pulls us over, we're dead. We don't need a life coach. We don't need coping strategies. We need a shepherd who cares about us. David says, I have one. The Lord, the God of the whole universe who controls all things, he is my shepherd. Therefore, I shall not want. I shall not want. So this is not a denial of desire. It's the presence of a deep, grounded, soul-satisfying contentment. It's a statement that I know that the Lord is in control of all things. He is all-powerful, and he cares for me. He's not just all-powerful, he's all good. That no matter what comes my way, I know he's got this, and he's got me. So David has heard the stories of the Exodus, God's powerful acts in the world. And he's heard the stories of the wilderness wanderings, how God provided for his people. He knows that God is all powerful and he's able to provide, but he knows more than this. He's lived enough for this knowledge to move from his head to his heart. He knows that the Lord is not only good to them, he's good to me. He's experienced the Lord meeting him in dry seasons and in the face of danger, in the presence of my enemies. And so he is able to make this breathtaking confession. If the Lord's my shepherd, I shall not want. It's a stunning statement, isn't it? I don't know about you, but I want to be able to say this. I want to be able to, full-hearted, deep-throated, be able to say, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And yet, I find it really difficult to say most days. It feels like everything in the world is against us saying this, because it is. Like we live in a world that needs us to endlessly want more. It needs us to do that. It demands that we endlessly want more. So let me be upfront. Capitalism is brilliant. I'm not anti-capitalist. It feeds and clothes the world, but I want you to appreciate this just for the sake of your own soul. The only reason it works is because people endlessly want more. The whole thing is fueled on human desire. If everyone in America just for a second decided, I shall not want, global economies would collapse. Millions of jobs would go away. People would starve to death. People wouldn't be clothed. Why? Because it's a system built upon endlessly wanting more. So have you taken a look at the charts of the S&P 500 over the last 10 years? Here's one right here. It's impressive. I mean, if you just scale this thing, we're talking doubling and tripling. Like, it's amazing. But here's the question. What exactly is this measuring? Is this like actual goods and services? Heavens, no. Is this real wealth? Well, it depends on what wealth is. I don't even know if that's true. Stocks, they are more like an idea. It's investing in an idea that a system is going to keep growing. But what exactly are we investing? What exactly do we believe is going to keep growing? The human capacity to want more. That's what will keep growing. And this is what makes it such a safe investment. Like, this is why you can bet your retirement on that thing. And this is what makes David's statement so countercultural and so radical. To declare, I shall not want, is to stand in opposition to the American dream. It's to threaten your neighbor's 401k. It's to expose the lie that more will somehow give you what you want in life. So David, he had everything and lost everything a couple times in his life. Had everything, lost everything. So that he knew firsthand that this is a lie. Like, he could see right through it. He knows that the world is selling something it can never truly deliver. It can never give you the real joy that you're looking for, the real fullness of life, the life that is truly life, the peace that passes understanding, the relationship with God and one another that we're made for. It can't give you that. And David knows that what he really wants can't be bought, sold, earned, manufactured. So all of his lesser desires are now subsumed under his one great desires, which is not the gift, but the giver. Not the provision, but the provider. So we see this perhaps more clearly, not in this verse, but in a parallel passage in Psalm 16. So the book of Psalms is composed in, there's like 5 books of the Psalms, but it's also within each book of the Psalms, there are sections that go together, like they're thematically organized. Psalm 23 is in a section that goes from Psalm 15 to 24. We don't need to get into all the details about this, but I just want you to see this one piece of it. It's laid out so that the Psalms mirror each other, and then they kind of come to a pinnacle in Psalm 19. For our purposes, the important part is this. Psalm 23 directly mirrors Psalm 16 in its themes. And Psalm 16:2 mirrors I shall not want. It says it this way. I said to the Lord, you are my Lord. Apart from you, I have no good thing. So see this. It's not that David doesn't desire when he says I shall not want. It's that his greatest desire has come into focus. God isn't just good, he is the good. He's the source of all good things, so that all good things pale in comparison to him. All these good things merely point to the one who is truly good, the true good that he seeks. If he has him, he doesn't need anything else. That's what he needs. I need you, Lord. Now, personally, this resonates with me like something deep in me. And yet again, how do you live this out on a Tuesday? What does this look like in our normal lives? Like, it's really difficult to go, like, I see this and I want to be this. But I struggle to live into this. So here I found the work of philosopher Albert Borgman helpful. Maybe you'll find it helpful too. He suggests, here's a way to step into this. He asks this question. If you want to experience like a taste of what it looks like to say, I shall not want, he says, when's the last time you were able to say, and here's the thing, there is no place I would rather be. There's nothing I'd rather do. There's no one I'd rather be with. That's what it means to confess, I shall not want. It's savoring the present moment as a gift from God. It's knowing that he's present, so everything you truly want and need is found in him. He is the author of all good things. So when David experiences the Lord as his shepherd, this is where it takes him to this deep, rich fullness of life to be able to confess, there's no place I'd rather be, nothing I'd rather do, no one I would rather be with. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. So if you're familiar with the climate of Israel, ancient and modern, you'll know that this is not a common thing. This is no southeastern PA. So we like walk out our door and see green pastures. Whew, boom, they're out there, flowing water. It's everywhere, right? But if you've ever been to Israel or just seen the pictures, you know that it looks more like this. So this is a picture of a pasture outside of Bethlehem where David himself grew up. This is what he's imagining when he says green pastures. So take this in. It is dry, brown, rocky, sunburned. It feels like a wasteland to us. So you don't just walk out your front door and find green pastures. You have to go looking for it. Or you have to create it with a lot of work and irrigation. Which is to say, the abundance David is describing here is not accidental. It is a personal gift, a direct gift from the Lord. It's daily bread. It's grace. So when he leads you to green pastures and still waters, this is the work of the Lord. And if the Lord didn't provide, you would starve to death. But I want you to notice, even in the midst of the Lord's abundant provision, David points out that the sheep don't naturally rest and lie down. He has to make me lie down. Like, they don't just know how to rest. They can't, for some reason, they just can't stop. There's something in them that stops them from resting. That people, like sheep, often struggle to truly enter into God's rest. To just accept his provision and stop striving so hard. But maybe I'm just speaking for myself. Well, no, I'm not. There's something in us that we can be in the middle of overwhelming abundance and still feel fear that we're not going to have enough. We can be showered with love and care and still feel insecure. We can rehearse what God's done for us in the past, how he saved us, he defeated our enemies, and yet as soon as something comes up, feel like we have to defend and protect ourselves, like it's all on me. The people, like sheep, have to be made to lie down in green pastures. So again, the shepherd, Philip Keller, is helpful. He describes how hard it is to get sheep to rest. He writes this: "The strange thing about sheep is that because of their very makeup, it's almost impossible for them to be made to lie down unless 4 requirements are met." Listen to these. First, they must be free from all fear. Now, sheep are afraid of everything, as they should be, because they're basically defenseless. They must be free from friction, what he calls friction. Get this, sheep, like people, are constantly competing with one another, constantly comparing themselves to one another. So a dominant ewe will come over and just start bashing the lambs to show her dominance. Same thing happens with people. Number 3, they must be free from flies and pests. Imagine living in a world where you're constantly being bothered with notifications, distractions, and they must be fed. That a hungry sheep doesn't lie down. It keeps searching, keeps moving, keeps striving. So they hear this. So it is with us. We are sheep, and we need a shepherd who calms our fears, reconciles our relationships, covers our irritations, fills our souls, removes distractions, calls us to himself. The real rest is not something we take for ourselves or earn for ourselves. It's a gift that God gives. That to drink deeply from the still waters, literally the waters of rest, this is a gift from God. Rest for your soul, like being able to cast all your cares on him because he cares for you. This is a gift from the Good Shepherd. And when David finally lets go, when he finally stops striving, stops competing, stops running, stops looking for the next thing, when he does this, he finds something deeper. Not just that God provides for me, not just the stuff that God does for me, but what God wants to do in me. Listen to the language he goes to. He restores my soul. So a few years back, I went through a particularly difficult season. To use Philip Keller's language, I was cast down. I was stuck. So during that season, I would get up every morning and I would sit before the Lord and I would read, I started with the Gospel of John. And I would just read a little passage of it and I would read it and I would reread it and I would visualize it. I would put myself in the scene. I would enter into it. And here's what I did. I would pay attention to Jesus. What's he like? What's he doing? What's the look on his face? What's it like to be around him? What's it like to be with him? I did this for months on end. And I noticed that bit by bit, day by day, I experienced a restoration of my soul. I can't quite put it into words. I'm not sure that it would make sense to you if I could. But I want you to hear this. David, not unlike many of us, has experienced horrific things in his life. Things that will destroy you. Things that will take you out. Things that you usually don't come back from. He's experienced war, regret, betrayal, murder, blinding grief, consuming lust, burying his own child, a broken marriage, and people literally trying to kill him. That behind every scar is a story. And yet, through it all, he never turns bitter, never loses the faith, never gives up. Why? How can he do that? And his answer is this: he restores my soul. It's not that I fix myself. It's not that I found the right strategy. It's not that time heals all wounds, because it doesn't. But the Lord is my shepherd. He restores my soul. So when I was still, when I stopped trying to fix myself, when I finally trusted him and laid down, when I accepted that I couldn't fix it on my own, that's when it happens. Not all at once, not dramatically, but bit by bit, day by day, like grass growing after the rain. The good shepherd brings healing. He restores my soul, and then he leads me in the paths of righteousness. Now, the paths of righteousness here can sound heavy, like moralistic or religious, but I want you to note that this same phrase, paths of righteousness, could just be the right path. So like the right path, meaning the path to where you're supposed to be, the path that takes you home, the path that leads you to become who you're called to be. You see, the trouble is we don't naturally take the right paths. If we just follow what we want to do, what comes naturally to us, it will lead to destruction, to death. If I just do what I want to, if I just follow my own heart and the logic of my own mind, I will inevitably self-destruct. I will. And so in our search for life, we chase the wrong things. Proverbs 14 says it this way: there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. You see, we need help. We need a shepherd who knows the terrain. We need a guide. We need someone who knows the dangers, who knows where the green pastures are. And when we follow him, he doesn't just lead us to provision, he leads us to a new inner wholeness, a peace that we can't manufacture, an identity we can't earn, a life that we cannot find on our own. He doesn't just provide for us physically, he restores my soul. How many of you need someone to restore your soul right now? The soul of your marriage, the soul of your family, of your relationships. The soul that is so overtaken by anxiety and bitterness and woundedness and grief. He restores my soul. And why does he do it? For his name's sake. This can sound awkward in our world. We live in a world that is obsessed with like image and branding and personal brands and things like that. So it can sound like God is managing his own personal brand here. But that is reading ourselves into God. God isn't like us. He isn't insecure. He's not desperate for affirmation. He doesn't need our clicks or likes or followers. He doesn't need this. He's the I am, the self-sufficient one. He doesn't need anything from you, and yet he longs to share his life, his joy, his mission, his goodness with you. He doesn't need anything from you, but he longs to share his life with you. And this, we catch a glimpse of this in the great mystery of the faith we call the Trinity. So who is God? We believe in one God who exists in three persons, eternally distinct, and yet one God, one life, one love, one essence. And so this one God, how does this work? This shows us this. The only way God can explain himself or describe himself to us is in this mystery that makes no sense. We can't fully comprehend it, but is essential to knowing who he truly is. That it is the relationship between a Father and a Son and a Spirit, eternally equal, eternally self-giving, eternally loving, eternally other-centered, and sharing their lives, their very selves, with one another. Now, why is this so important? Because when David speaks of for his name's sake, that's exactly what he's talking about. He's referring to his character. Why does God do this for you? Why does he love you? Why does he come after you? Why does he keep pursuing you? Because that's who he is in eternity. That's who he is. Who is God? God is love. He's not good to you because you deserve it. It's because he's good. Period. Full stop. He is good. Do you experience him like that? He is love. Do you know him like that? Again, this is something I can't explain to you. You have to experience. You have to digest it. You have to let these words settle into your soul. It has to become part of you. And when you experience God for who he is, God is love, well, that is the confidence that David has here. David is not a good person, guys. He's not the most religious or moral person. Have you read his stories? He's an not an idolater, an adulterer. He committed adultery. He killed a man. He's a murderer. He's a liar. He covets. He lusts. He's full of sins. And he's a man after God's own heart. God is good to him, not because David is good, but because God is. And that is good news. So do you know why God is so good to you? Do you know why he is so loving to you? Because that's who he is in eternity. And that's the confidence we have. Only when his very nature changes, only then will we lose confidence. Because his behavior perfectly flows out of his character. God is good to you not because of what you've done, but because that's who he is. He loves you because God is love. So why is he a shepherd to you? For his name's sake. Thanks be to God. Amen. So underneath the ancient city of Rome, ancient ruins, there's all these catacombs, miles and miles of catacombs carved out, and these ancient burial grounds. We've talked about this before. We talked about it in the Jonah series recently. So for hundreds of years, these were used as burial spots for Christians, the earliest Christians. And because of that, the earliest Christians also would sometimes come down, bury someone, and then hold like a service down there, or they would even share like meals. You know, we have receptions after funerals sometimes. Just imagine doing that in a cavern with a bunch of dead people. Crazy. But it's an idea of, get the picture here. We are in fellowship with believers who went before us. So they would eat the meal there as a sign that they're dead, but they're not. It's not like they disappeared forever. No, they're in the presence of the Lord, and we will meet them someday, and one day we will all eat together. So this is the image that you see in the ancient catacombs of Rome. If you go there, particularly my favorite, the catacombs of Priscilla in the north, it's 13 kilometers of caverns with all these burial spots. And in it, because it's underground and these perfect conditions, the paintings that the Christians put on the walls and on the ceilings still are just in place. Like you can see them. You can go down there and check it all out. It's really fantastic. And the great thing about this is that you get a snapshot of what the earliest Christians, how they practiced their faith, what they believed about God, about Jesus. You get a picture of like, has Christianity changed? How do they view Jesus? And in the pictures, there's two great images of Jesus that are repeated over and over and over again. The first is the sign of Jonah. This is Jonah getting thrown up, vomited up by the great fish, the great serpent, whatever it is. And this image is that Jesus is the resurrected one. Just as Jonah went into the belly of the great fish and was descended to the dead for 3 days and then rose again, this is the sign of Jesus. Who is Jesus? He's the resurrected one, the one who overcame death itself, thanks be to God. So when we go to the burial place, we remember Jesus is the one who defeats even death. Nothing can touch him. He is the glorious, all-glorious, resurrected one. The second image is this. It's the image of the Good Shepherd. A young man, sheep over his shoulders, If you notice, he's even stepping out. And when you actually go there, you see it. He's stepping out of the darkness. He's stepping towards you. He's carrying the sheep over his shoulder. He's bringing it home. Who is Jesus? He's the one who's going to carry you home. And this is how the first Christians saw Jesus, but they wanted to make sure that these two images are not separate. It's not like Jesus is a good shepherd or he's the exalted resurrected one. So on one ceiling in particular, you look up, and there, all around the edges, you see these images from Jonah's life. There's Jonah. What is he? He's the one who gave his life so that the sailors could live. So Jonah getting thrown over by the sailors, Jonah getting thrown up by the great fish, and then Jonah lying under the vine there at the bottom. So these images of Jonah's life. But what is that in the center? This is the good shepherd himself. And we are to see these two images side by side. Yes, he is the resurrected one, but Jesus is also the good shepherd who will drop everything to come looking for you. That when you are cast down and cannot save yourself, he's going to right you. He will pick you up. He himself will carry you home. They didn't just believe in Jesus. They believed that he is my shepherd, that they belong to Jesus, that the resurrected one who died and rose again is my shepherd. And that is the invitation of Psalm 23. It's not to strive. It's not to prove yourself. It's not to earn anything. It's to belong to him, to entrust yourself to him, to drink deeply, to let him restore your soul. So this week, I want to encourage you to do something that will be, it's going to be hard for some of you. I don't want you to try and do anything. I want you to just lie down in green pastures. I want you to sit with this, chew on this. Just as sheep chew the cud, I want you to take a word or a phrase or whatever stands out to you in this text today, and I want you to digest it, let it become part of you. Let the words become part of you. The Lord is not just a shepherd. He's not just a shepherd of some people. He's mine. The Lord is my shepherd. And when he becomes your shepherd, I shall not want.